Right. So, patch notes. Yay for Year 6 Season 1 PTS notes. I mean, it feels like not too long since we had Project Resolve. And for me personally, I feel like Project Resolve did minimal to nothing. So, I'm not too sure what this is about. And yeah, times for the PTS starting Friday, 26th of April at 1 PM Central Eastern Time. And then end date 29th. So feel free to come along. We have a new brand set coming out. One piece for 15% mag size, two piece for 20% rifle, and then three piece for 30% handling. The mag size is nice. We've already got quite a bit of rifle damage and things we can get along with like things like this. Unless they're gonna like up it to like 50%, just expertise and crit wins out most of the time. The handling is nice, although I kind of wouldn't mind seeing things get flipped around. Let's put the handling there and then the rifle damage last or something. I don't know. I'm not too sure where they're going with these, and I feel like if this isn't red, I feel like we should riot at this point because like they're doing really weird stuff with a lot of the brand sets. Named piece coming out, Bobber, whatever. Perfect Entrench allows for 30% armor repair, or if you're below 30% armor repair, headshots recover 30% of your armor. Cooldown is 2 seconds. I like the idea of Entrench. I've just never seen anyone run it. I've tried testing it a few times, and don't get me wrong, it works great. It's really good, but I just don't see the point. And typically, if you're like, especially within like an end game setting, if you're at 30 or below 30% armor, the next hit means you're dead anyway, so you don't really have like a chance to do this. And then we have new named gloves, Eagle's Grasp, 15% weapon handling. Not sure. Depends on how they come, how they roll, what they're with, etc, etc. Now for probably the biggest news, like it's finally here. For all this begging and crying and stamping our feet, oh my god, a gear set for rifles. Hell yes. And then they went and put more MMR on it. So now we've got aces, which is like kind of useless at this point. Hot shot. We now have this. Why is it rifle and MMR? Like, if anything, you should have just reworked aces to rifle. Just, yeah. Or, I don't know, have this be like pistol. Rather than rifle and MMR, have it be rifle and pistol. Like, I don't get this. Still, nice, good, healthy stats. 15% rifle, 15% MMR. The three-piece is 30% headshot, 15 handling. And then the unique talent for the four-piece. Landing a shot with a rifle or MMR grants a stack. Reloading will grant 2% weapon handling and 2% weapon damage. Now, this depends on what this is. This is just normal weapon damage, WD, or total weapon damage, or even an amp. Normally with these sorts of sets, we are looking at it being an amp, but again, wording, devs, please help about. Per stack for 10 seconds. Okay. So far, this actually sounds like it could be pretty powerful. The downside to this is actually really isn't going to help rifles with a smaller mag. This is going to really help rifles that have a very large mag. And just in case people haven't quite figured it out yet, this could potentially do some serious breakage with Ravenous. That's a 60 round mag. That's 120% handling, 120% weapon damage. When Ravenous already gets like a 400% amp and causes explosions. So this could be problematic. Sure, strikers can also do some serious damage with it, but yeah, this could be a problem. However, now that I've said that, we then need to reel it back in a bit because no stacks are required while the bonus is active. The timer running out will refill your magazine. No stacks are required while the bonus is active. Kills this. Like, this goes from like Like, you're reading this and you're like, oh my god, this sounds actually really quite cool. Especially with what I've just said with Ravenous. You could then also take into account something like the M16A2, 50-round mag if you wanted. Dread Edict could be awesome with this, because as you get kills, it refills the mag anyway. So you could stack with Dread Edict a shit ton. And then you reload to get your bonus. And then, yeah, it's gone. Like, they killed it before it even, like, literally just by adding this one sentence. They killed it before it could do anything. Like, I don't see the harm in letting it continually stack while you have the bonus, so that your first magazine is terrible, you build it up, you reload, you get the bonus for whatever. I don't know, say it'd be like, I don't know, 10 and 10. But because you've got this handling, the next one's like 20. So it kind of just goes up and up and up. And the maximum you're able to get would essentially be, because it's 2% per shot and applies on reload, it will only be like essentially twice what your magazine would be. So out of rifles, the highest it can be is 120, or if we come down here to the backpack real quick, this would be from 2 to 3, so that puts it to 180. Strikers is 200, by the way. 200. I don't understand this. Makes no sense. Swapping weapon while the bonus is active will stop the effect and refill your magazine. Swapping weapons while the bonuses are not active will remove the stacks and refill your magazine. Kind of weird. So it's almost like always refilling magazine. Chest talent causes duration from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. That's perfectly fine. I kind of feel it's going to be a rapid fire thing anyway. And then, as we've already discussed, the backpack taking it from 2 to 3%. Acosta's knee pads. These sound really fun. They genuinely sound really fun and interesting. I just don't get it. I don't know whether this is me being an absolute space cake. I don't get it. I don't get the point. I don't understand why. Like, vaulting from the top of an object gives 10% movement speed for 3 seconds. Okay, great. After not moving for 5 seconds, gain 20% movement speed for 5 seconds. That's great, but if we weren't moving for 5 seconds, would we have just gained that distance already? Like, I don't get the point. When affected by a status, a 10% movement speed is granted for 5 seconds. I mean, okay, but does that not negate the use of bleed? Like, hello? Max movement speed is 20%. The bonuses do not stack with movement speed bonuses from other sources. So that's pairing this with Lady Death out. And you get a negative 50% impairment penalty from status effect. So this could actually be pretty useful. I feel like this is going to be like a PvP item. I imagine there's quite a few high-end PvP players that are like at this already. Especially if you like, I don't know, Ouroboros, like if it gets hit with a status, or even Elmos. Like this is just like, yeah, thank you for the movement speed increase. Thank you very much. Right. Now for the exotic weapon. So that's the new exotic knee pads coming in. Exotic weapon is Overlord. Exotic shotgun. Talent is Capitulate. Hitting an enemy would apply a stack of negative 1.5 movement speed for each pellet for 5 seconds. Shooting again reapplies the stack. Like, really? This is like a 12% movement speed debuff. That's it. Yeah, I don't get it. Now, I see a lot of people getting all excited about the new talent for the named weapons. Brazen weapon talent. Receive a 1% amplified for the next shot with the weapon for each pellet that hit its target if at least 6 pellets hit. So the first thing you need to do is hit 6 pellets. So the minimum you're able to get is a 6% amp, up to a max of 8. Or the perfect version, same thing again, we're coming on a Spaz 12 and a Super 90. The perfect version is the minimum you can get is an amplifier of 4 or a max of 8. Flatline. And you don't actually need to even trigger it, you just aim. Flat line. Why? Why is this a thing? We would also need to compare it. I'd have to probably do that tomorrow as well. when the PTS is out to pummel. Like, can you actively, because a lot of the time you can actively keep pummel active. Does 40% weapon damage outperform at max an 8% amp? I know for a fact it does, because pummel, if you're able to keep it permanently active, outperforms flatline, which is a 15% amp. Take away the mod, we're looking at 13.8. So yeah, no. I know people are excited, but no. Rework to the Diamondback exotic. I personally don't understand this. Basically, all they've done is they've removed Diamondback's ability to randomly mark, and they've fixed it to it will randomly mark something within 20 meters. And if there's nothing within 20 meters, it will then mark the enemy closest. There's also been a damage increase, and they've upped its magazine size from 5 to 6. I agree that this weapon needed a rework, but this is not the rework it needed. No, not at all. They've also added a bunch of known issues, which means they've somehow managed to test this beforehand and not told anyone. Interesting. Have fun, good luck, don't die. See you tomorrow. Bad for the health.